The African sun bore down mercilessly, turning the savannah into a shimmering sea of ochre and gold. Grasses stretched endlessly, their tips swaying in the midday breeze like dancers, caught in a lullaby. In the distance, acacia trees stood as silent sentinels, their flat canopies casting lace-like shadows on the sun-baked earth. A crimson safari bus rolled to a gentle stop along a dusty trail, its engines hum fading away as windows slid open and cameras clicked hesitantly. Inside, tourists pressed forward, eyes wide, breaths held in reverent silence. At the front of the bus, Ranger Nuru stood like a beacon of calm, a man whose life had been woven into the fabric of these plains for decades, whose every sense was attuned to the whispers of the wild. Little did they know, the savannah was about to speak in a way that would shatter every expectation, and they would bear witness. And Nuru stepped off the bus, the coarse gravel crunching beneath his boots. He raised his binoculars, scanning the horizon with the serenity of someone who had learned to read the wind, the birds, and the heartbeat of the earth itself. The cicadas droned in the distance, and a lone hornbill's call punctuated the air. Foul. But today, the land felt different, charged, taut, as if holding its breath. Then, without warning, the grass beside the trail erupted. A hulking male lion, muscles rippling beneath a golden mane, surged forward. Hot on his heels came a lioness. Her stride, urgent yet controlled. Sight, urgent yet controlled. Instinct surged through Nuru, and he spun, sprinting back to the bus. With a thud, he slammed the door shut just as a scream pierced the air, cameras clattering to the floor. Tourists recoiled, hearts pounding. But the lions did not tack. Instead, they paced back and forth, restless giants caught between dread and hope. Inside the bus, fear rippled through every chest. Eyes darted between the roaring dust and trembling hands. Yet the lions remained at the brink, neither pouncing nor retreating. Nuru leaned toward the window, his mind racing with possibilities. Every twitch of a whisker, every tilt of a head spoke volumes. Predators in peace? No. Hunger? Far from it. This was distress, a cry for help, without a roar. Faye roar. The male paused, gaze locking onto Nuru's with a depth that pierced the heat haze. It wasn't a threat. It was a plea. It was a plea. The lioness shifted uneasily, her eyes fixed on a spot just beyond the grass line. Something was wrong, terribly wrong, and she believed this man could fix it. A hush fell so deep that the distant wildlife seemed muffled in respect. Then, with deliberate calm, Nuru reached for the door handle. Gasps erupted among the tourists as the guide stepped outside again, each footfall measured against the drumbeat of his own pulse. The lions made way, first the male edging right, then the lioness astride ahead, pausing to look back as if to confirm Nuru was following. Entrusted with their secret, he moved forward, tart steady, senses blazing. The bush held its breath. Birds stilled. Birds stilled. No beast had ever led a stranger into its world, yet here they were. Man and lions walking side by side toward an unknown fate. They halted at a shallow hollow, where reeds brushed the lion's paws, and stones lay scattered like forgotten gems. The air hung heavy as Nuru crouched to peer into a narrow crevice. At first, there was only silence. Then a faint, broken cry floated up from the earth, fragile as a child's sob. Within the shadowed slit lay a cub, no older than a season, its tawny coat dulled by dust, one leg twisted beneath the rocky wall. It whimpered again, a tiny sound wrought from confusion and pain. Above, the lioness's flank heaved, each anxious breath a heartbeat of hope and dread. Te, the hope and dread. The male stood sentinel, eyes unwavering, trusting this human to unravel nature's cruel trap. Time became a distant concept as Nuru raced back to the bus. He returned, armed with a shovel, coil of rope, and small toolkit, each item a lifeline for the trapped cub. Kneeling at the crevice's edge, he worked with precision, sweat beading on his brow as he chipped away stubborn earth and stone. Dust drifted like golden pollen, filling the air with urgency. The cub's cries grew sharper, resonating with the drum of Nuru's pulse. Around him, the lions remained statues of patience, silent prayers embodied in powerful forms. Each scoop of soil brought them closer to hope, or heartbreak. At last, the gap yawned wide enough. Nuru's hands trembled, not from fear, but because he held the weight of lives in his palms. Ears. He looped the rope around the cub's torso and, voice low and soothing, whispered reassurances into the wind. The cub fought, terrified of this strange daylight, but the rope guided its weary body upward. Inch by trembling inch, the small lion emerged, blinking against the sun. Relief swept through the mother like tidal water. She padded forward, nostrils flaring as she nuzzled her cub, licking dust from its fur. The male approached more slowly, massive head lowered in cautious scrutiny. When he deemed the cub whole, he settled beside his mate, strength rippling beneath golden pelts. Mother and cub embraced in a dance as old as time. Soft whines, gentle paws, eyes bright, with unspoken thanks. Then the male rose, casting one last look at Ranger Nuru. No growl, no threat, no threat, no threat. Just a profound gaze of gratitude that seemed to echo across the savannah itself. Together, the trio melted back into the grass, their forms dissolving like a dream at dawn. Dawn! Behind them, the bush exhaled, and life resumed its ancient rhythm. Inside the bus, silence lingered longer than any roar. Tourists sat motionless, breath suspended between wonder and disbelief. Some wiped tears, others stared through misted windows, unable to grasp the gift they had witnessed. At last, a voice, barely more than a whisper, broke the spell. They asked for help. They asked for help. Another murmured, who knew lions could do that? Ranger Nuru, face lined by years under the sun, took a slow sip of water. His eyes drifted to the horizon where the grass rippled with secrets. For a moment, he held that gaze, then spoke in a voice both soft and resolute. It was no accident. It was no accident. They knew I could help. The bus rumbled back to life, tires whispering over the red dust as it rolled away. Outside, the world seemed changed, as if the savannah itself had shifted on its axis. In every heart on board, a seed of understanding had been planted, a reminder that intelligence, emotion, and compassion are not the province of humankind alone. In that fleeting encounter, a predator had become a protector, and a guide had become a bridge between two worlds. Hein, Fong. Join us in preserving these wonders of the wild. Share this story, spread the message of compassion, and stand with us in safeguarding the fragile balance of our planet, because when a lion trusts a man, the world holds its breath and magic happens.